So, today I wanted to talk about our higher self, being a witness to ourself, and what that looks and feels like. So, what I've found on my spiritual journey over the course of the last 25 years is that I am not my thoughts, and I am able, as you are, to be able to step back and be an observer to my thoughts, especially my inner critic. That's the one that often has the biggest voice. And when I recognize that that's not my voice, that I'm beyond that voice, then it helps me to recognize that I am a spiritual being, as we are all spiritual beings. So one of the practices that I really enjoy doing to be able to help me connect to that higher self as often as possible is taking a few moments in the morning, before bed, as often as I can throughout the day, to really be present. And what I mean by this is really to empty my mind of anything that's in the future and anything that's from the past, and really sitting and being still with myself. Because what I've found, as many spiritual leaders and many others that you may listen to, will talk about, like in all of the religious texts, like all of the things, it's always about being still so we can listen to that inner voice, because that's the voice where our heart's wisdom comes from. So if we can take 20 to 30 minutes a day to really be still, be present, and to listen to our higher voice, our inner wisdom, our heart's navigational system, then we can really hear what our inner guidance is wanting us to hear. Especially if we have a problem, especially if we have a conundrum of some sort, something that we're working through or just don't have an answer to that we would like to have an answer to, whatever that might be. By being still for, 20 to 30 minutes a day, we can allow that inner voice, that inner wisdom to come to us. We bring it that problem, if you will. We bring it that issue that we're having, and, say, hey, I'm really struggling with this, and ask for the guidance, ask for the solution, ask for the remedy that's going to serve your highest good. And more often than not, you'll get that answer. However, it might not be the first time that you try this, or the second or the third, because we first have to develop that relationship with our inner selves, our inner guidance system, in order to really recognize what that voice sounds like. So, by having a practice, for myself, that practice is when I first wake up in the morning, I'll find that quiet space and just be with that portion of myself. And before I go to bed, I'll do the same thing, and I'll just be. And like I said, if I've got moments throughout the day that I think about it, I'll do it. However, I'm very intentional about it at the beginning and at the end of my day, just to be able to carve out that time. And the thing is the more, if you're saying like, I don't have that time, my day is booked, that means that you need this time even more so, because if you're just simply in this go, 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 do mode, then we don't have the opportunity to hear our inner guidance. We're just listening to our ego. We're just being highly reactive to whatever's going on around us, we don't have the opportunity to listen to our guidance system because we're not given it the space to do so. It requires us giving it space for us to be able to hear it, for it to come up and show up for us. And it also takes a little bit of practice. So don't be discouraged if you try this once and you're like, nothing came to me. Don't be discouraged. And if this is your first time trying something like this, I highly recommend putting your hand on your heart and your other hand on your belly and breathing in, because what happens is our mind needs something to hold on to. If we're not thinking about the future or the past, it needs something. Especially, we're not going to have that empty mind until, it takes a little while. It takes a little practice. And so by putting our hand on our heart and our belly, we can say something like, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. And we can do that for a few times. Or we might say a mantra, I'm breathing in love, I'm exhaling fear, or something along those lines. And I've talked about this in other videos as well. But I don't want to go too deep into that today. Just a reminder as to how that works. So the more that we can really tap into our soul, our spirit, our inner guidance system, the more that we can move through life from that center, with every moment being present to that and living from that moment. This is what all of the spiritual texts tell us to do. Being present and coming from a place of love and compassion is a thread between all of the spiritual texts. So the more that we can practice this and put it into our lives, the more that we can dive into that space of our inner being and be able to move through life from that space as often as possible. And I will say that even if it doesn't come natural at first, it's okay. Over time and practice of just maybe even starting with 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night and building up to 20 to 30 minutes, then it eventually you'll be able to step back and say, oh, I'm doing this throughout the day. Just simply being still and being present and allowing our inner wisdom to come up, hearing that whisper from within and saying, oh, I hear you. Thank you. Okay, let's go do that now. Whatever it might be. It can be something as simple as driving down the road and hearing that inner wisdom that says, it's time to go and get that gas now as opposed to later. Take that stop now, not later. Don't know what that's about, but listening to that guidance, whatever it might be. Or maybe you've got a full day of things to do. You might hear your inner guidance that says, no, you should rest for a few moments before you start your day, before you start all of the things. And you do that. You rest for a few moments before you begin doing whatever. So it can be very, very minor, the little guidance that comes to us throughout the day. However, that's the voice of our highest truth. It's not going to lead us wrong. It's always going to lead us down the correct path for our highest good, for our highest well-being. And that's where we want to come from. We want to come from that place. We want to be able to live as often as possible from that place. And it requires that silence to go within, to do that. And it'll allow us to live our most authentic life. It'll allow us to live from that place of our highest good. And it will strengthen that connection to our inner self, which ultimately we all want. All right, so that is all I have for you. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And you'll notice that I'm in a different spot. I'm actually traveling on my way down to Florida. I'm at an Airbnb here in Atlanta. And I didn't have a good place to be able to record, but I wanted to make sure I got something out there. So here I am. All right, y'all. You take care. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on the other side, y'all.